ஆழ்வார் எம்பெருமானார் ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். எம்பெருமானார் and Divideshams, that is the topic we are saying now. Bhagavad Ramanuja Emberamannar is an incarnation of Adishesha. He incarnated in this world to uplift as many souls as possible and lead them to Sri Vaikuntham, where they can serve Bhagavan eternally. For this purpose he appeared in Sri Perumbudur. Yesterday we saw his time in Sri Perumbudur. After that we saw how he was closely related to Deva Perumal in Kanchipuram, how Deva Perumal cared for Emberamannar just as a father would do for his child. After that we saw Emberamannar's relationship with Periya Perumal. Periya Perumal crowned Emberamannar as Udayavar. Udayavar means Swami in simple terms. Swam is property and Swami is owner of the property. So Swami and Udayavar are synonyms. Swami is in Sanskritam, Udayavar is in Tamil. Bhagavan crowns Bhagavad Ramanuja as the owner of Nitya Vibhuti and Leela Vibhuti. Nitya Vibhuti is Sri Vaikuntham. Leela Vibhuti is Samsaram, where we are living. By crowning him as Udayavar, Emberaman Sriman Narayana gives the power to Ramanuja to liberate anyone from this material world and to lead them into Paramapadam. That is a great honor given by Bhagavan to Ramanuja, and we saw Ramanuja's time in Sri Rangam, where he started reforming the Sri Rangam temple. Sri Rangam temple is considered as the base, as the headquarters for Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam, and in achieving full reform in Sri Rangam, he had a wonderful model which was carried forward in all the other Divideshams and other temples. So as part of his reform, he arranged Kainkariams for everyone who are having Sambandham with Acharya, who are having Sambandham with the Sampradaya, and who are interested to serve Bhagavan. He also ensured that the Utsavams, Kainkariams and so on happen in the proper manner without any deviations. He cared for the Archavataram Emberaman, Periya Perumal. He organized "74 Simhasanadipatis," the Acharyas, who would all carry forward our Sampradayam into various towns and villages and so on. So he established these Acharya Pitams and he placed many of his Sishyas who are very learned and very eloquent, very sincere, very dedicated into these Acharya Pitams, and he instructed them that whoever is interested in Bhagavad Vishayam they should be accepted, they should be nurtured, and they should be given full knowledge and Kainkaryam too. In this manner, these 74 Simhasanadipatis were the pinnacle of Emberamanar's achievements, where the Sampradayam could grow into many folds and could sustain many onslaughts and survive even for 1,000 years in the same form. He composed many wonderful granthams while he was in Srirangam. Among his 9 granthams, 8 granthams were composed when he was in Srirangam. Sri Bhashyam, Gita Bhashyam, Vedanta Saram, Vedanta Deepam, Sharanagati Gadyam, Sriranga Gadyam, Sri Vaikunta Gadyam, and Nitya Grantham. All of these were composed when he was in Srirangam. Vedanta Sangraham was composed, it was recited spontaneously by Bhagavad Ramanuja when he was in Tirumala Tirupati. But all other granthams, 8 granthams, were composed when he was in Srirangam. So on the whole, he had composed 9 wonderful granthams, all in Sanskritam. He also initiated the tradition of writing commentaries for Divya Prabandhams. Instead of himself doing the commentary, he ordered Tirukkurugai Piran Pillan to write the first commentary for Thiruvaimozhi, Arairapadi. From then on, the commentary tradition wonderfully thrived. So in this manner, Emberamanar established so many wonderful things when he was in Srirangam, and Periya Perumal was like a mentor for Emberamanar. He was always guiding him. That was the relationship between Periya Perumal and Emberamanar. After that, we saw Tirumala Tirupati, how Emberamanar went there 3 times at least. The first time he went to study Sri Ramayanam under Periya Thirumalai Nambi. At the end of the sessions, he was getting ready to leave. At that time, Periya Thirumalai Nambi, Sri Shailapurna, wanted to gift something to Emberamanar, and Emberamanar requests Govindacharya to be sent along with him. Govinda was serving Periya Thirumalai Nambi in Tirupati, Tirumala. But Emberamanar had great plans for Govindacharya. Govindacharya will become Embar eventually and will assist Emberamanar throughout his efforts. So that was the first time going to Tirumala Tirupati. He goes there a second time to establish that the Lord on the hill is Vishnu himself, because there was a confusion at that time whether it was Vishnu or Shiva, and at that time he goes and arranges for the Shankha and Chakra to be placed on Bhagavan's hands, divine hands. So by giving this Shankha and Chakra to Bhagavan himself, he becomes the Acharya for Trivenkadamudayan, Srinivasan Emberiman. So there is a Acharya-Sishya relationship between Emberimanar and Trivenkadamudayan. And the third time he goes to Tirupati when Govindaraja Perumal in Tiruchitrakutam, when the Moolavar deity was thrown into ocean and there was chaos there, Utsavar deity was brought to Tirupati. So at that time Emberimanar goes there and ensures that a beautiful temple is built for Govindaraja Perumal, installs a Moolavar deity, consecrates a Moolavar deity which looks very similar to Govindaraja Perumal Moolavar, which was thrown away. In this manner, it is seen that Emperumanar had travelled to Tirumala Tirupati at least 3 times, and he shares a relationship of being the Acharya for Thiruvenkadamudiyan. He also arranged for Anantalvan to remain on the Tirumala hills and serve him by making garlands on a regular basis. Yesterday we saw up to this, and now we will continue enjoying Emperumanar's relationship with other Divideshams. We will start with Tirunarayanapuram today. Tirunarayanapuram is also known as Melkote. It's a very special abode of Bhagavan. It has a very special place in Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam. When a Saiva king wanted to harm Emperumanar, Kurathalvan goes to the Shaiva king's court and he establishes Vishnu Paratvam, Vishnu's supremacy. In the meantime, Emperumanar leaves from Srirangam and heads towards Tirunarayanapuram, knowing that there is danger if he stays in Srirangam, because the Shaiva king wants to establish Shiva's supremacy in one way or the other, even at the cost of harming others. And at this time, when Emperumanar was going towards Tirunarayanapuram, Kurathalvan, Kuresh and Periyanambi Mahapurna, they both lose their eyes in king's court, and they return back to Srirangam. On the way, Periyanambi Mahapurna ascends to Parampadam. Emperumanar goes to Tirunarayanapuram. On the way, he stops at, he is again helped by some hunters, and then the hunters lead him to the residence of Kongil Pirati, who had some interaction with Emperumanar when Emperumanar was in Srirangam. She had heard the Dvayamaha Mantram from Emperumanar himself directly a couple of times, and she was greatly attached to Emperumanar. And Emperumanar and all his disciples who accompanied him in this yatra, they all come to Kongil Pirati's house, and they all get to know each other in the process, and Kongil Pirati is very happy that Emperumanar was present right there. And from there, Emperumanar and the other devotees, they all go towards Tirunarayanapuram. They all reach Tondanur. They stay there for some time. Emperumanar arranges the Tondanur lake to be made. It was a man-made lake, and which provides water for many of the villages surrounding Tondanur. Before even reaching Tondanur, he stops by Mithilapuri Shalagramam, where Vaduganambi comes and becomes disciple of Emperumanar, and this is where Emperumanar asks his disciple, important disciple Mudaliyandan Dasarathi, to place his lotus feet in the pond in the center of the town, because the people who there were not favorable towards Emperumanar, and Emperumanar knew that Mudaliyandan, being a very pure devotee, his Charanamrita, the water washing his divine feet, will bring a change in everyone's heart, and that did do the trick, and everyone became disciples of Emperumanar. And then he went to Tondanur, where he also defeated many Jaina scholars in a debate, where he put a screen in front of him and he debated with 1,000 Jaina scholars at the same time, where he assumed the form of Adishesha with 1,000 hoods and 1,000 mouth, and he debated with them, he argued with them, and he won over all of them. Some of them accepted Emperumanar as Acharya, others just ran away. While he was in Tirunanapuram, in Tondanur, he ran out of Tiruman and he also wanted to go to Tirunaranapuram. In the sleep, in his dream, Tirunaranapuram Perumal appears and asks Emberumanar to come to Tirunaranapuram, and he said he will find, Emberumanar will find Thiruman there. When Emberumanar goes to Tirunaranapuram, he doesn't see the temple there. It was all sand dunes. Everything was concealed, hidden. And then when Emberumanar was again very anguished, seeing the situation, he was resting for a little while. At that time, Emberuman appears in his dream and asks Emberumanar to come to a spot where Emberuman is buried in the ground, and Emberumanar goes there. He brings Tirunarayan and Emberuman out from the ground, and then he ensures that the temple is renovated again. Emberuman is placed there, consecrated there, and then he goes to Delhi to get the Utsava deity from the Delhi Badshah's court. The Delhi king's daughter was having the Selvapillai Utsava deity. We all know the history. Emberumanar brings the deity from Delhi to Tirunaranapuram. The Sultan, the king's daughter, chases Emberumanar's group, and finally, before entering the town, she reaches there, and looking at her great devotion, Emberumanar prays to Emberuman to accept her fully, and Emberuman accepts her, and she becomes part of Emberuman's lotus feet. She reaches there and she stays there permanently. And then Emberuman is brought into the temple. Utsava deity is brought into the temple and he is established there. And from that time onwards, Emberumanar cares for Selvapillai Emberuman like caring for one's own child. So there is like a father-child relationship between Tirunaranapuram Emberuman and Emberumanar, where Emberumanar is the father and Selvapillai Emberuman is his child. Even today, we can see how caringly they do the Thiruvaradhanam. Even when he wakes up a little late. The Vishwarupam will not be done until 7:30 or so, unlike other temples where it is done very early. So he is cared like a very pampered child. Emberuman is cared like a very pampered child. That is based on the desire and orders of Emberumanar. So in this manner he remains there for almost 12 years. He establishes 52 families of Sri Vaishnavas who take care of Emberumanar and Perumal there. Some people say that he brought Brahmanas and converted them into Brahmanas and so on. Emberumanar being Paramavedika, he will not do anything which violates Shastram. So he did not do anything along that lines. He was always respecting Shastram and he would obey the injunctions given in Shastram. So he establishes these 52 Sri Vaishnavas there and ensures that all the Kainkariams happen there properly. And after 12 years, he comes to know about the death of the Shaiva king and peace returns to Srirangam. And he decides to return to Srirangam. At that time, the disciples feel very sad. They were all thinking that Emberumanar will stay in Tirunaranapuram forever. But he has his mission in Srirangam. He has his heart in Srirangam with Periya Perumal. So he goes to Srirangam. He decides to go to Srirangam again. So the disciples there, they all request to Emberumanar that a Vigraha, a deity is made which resembles Emberumanar exactly. And they all request that they will worship that Vigraha and feel satisfied. And Emperumanar agrees for that. This deity is known as Tamarugandha Tirumeni, the divine form which was greatly relished by the disciples of Emperumanar. So this deity was consecrated in the temple in Emperumanar's time. And then he returns to Srirangam and he continues his journey there. So that was about Srirangam, Tirunaranapuram. Next we will see Emperumanar's relationship with Alvar Tirunagari. Alvar Tirunagari is the birthplace of Nammalvar. It is also a Divyadesham where Nammalvar has performed Mangala Shasanam for Adinathan Emperuman Polindindrapiran. So it is a Divyadesham. It is also the birthplace of Nammalvar. Not only that, it is the birthplace of Emperumanar Ramanuja's first Vigraham also. Bhavishyatacharyan Vigraham was acquired when Madhurakavi Alvar boiled the Tamrabarni river water. That was the time when first he got a Archa Vigraham which was having Anjali Mudra, folded hands. So Madhurakavi Alvar was surprised. He wanted a Vigraham from Nammalvar so that he can worship Nammalvar after Nammalvar ascends to Parampadam. But he was expecting the Vigraham to have Upadesha Mudra as an Acharya would have. But since this particular Vigraha was having Anjali Mudra, Madhurakavi Alvar was surprised. At that time Nammalvar says, after 4000 years we are going to have a great Acharya. He has a special relationship with me and this is the Vigraha of that particular Acharya. After that, the next time when Madhurakavi Alvar boils the water, he gets the Nammalvar's Vigraham with the Upadesha Mudra, and we see this Nammalvar's form in Alvar Tirunagari main temple, in Alvar temple, and Ramanuja's Vigraha is worshipped even today in Chaturvedi Mangalam in Bhavishyatacharyan Sannidhi. So Nammalvar's grace led to Emperumanar's Vigraham coming into this world. So it can be in a sense said that Emperumanar's birthplace also is Alvar Tirunagari, especially the Vigraha of Emperumanar, Tirumeni of Emperumanar. Not only that time, there is a second incident which is highlighted in Charmapaya Nirnayam, a grantham by Nayanar Ashan Pillai, where Nathamunigal goes to Nammalvar. He prays reciting the Kannunun Chiruthambu 12,000 times, and Nammalvar appears in front of Nathamunigal and he blesses Nathamunigal with his own Divya Prabandhams and the Divya Prabandhams sung by all other Alvars along with their meanings. And while explaining Thiruvaimozhi meanings, the Poliga 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 Padigam, at that time Nammalvar appears in the dream of Nathamunigal in the form of Emperumanar with a Kashaya and Tirudanda in his hands, and Nathamunigal is greatly joyful seeing that form, and he comes back to Nammalvar and says that I saw your form in my dream. I like that Vigraha, I like that form. Can you please give me that form? And Nammalvar orders a sculptor to prepare a new Vigraha of Ramanuja, Bhavishyatacharyan, because it is Ramanuja who is going to create a great uprising for the Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam. So he orders the sculptor to make a new Vigraha, and the sculptor makes the new Vigraha, and that Vigraha is given to Nathamunigal, and this Vigraha was carried forward from Nathamunigal to Uyakundar to Manakal Nambi to Alavandar, and it is with this Vigraham Alavandar goes and identifies Ramanuja in the Goshti of Yadava Prakasha. Because Nammalvar, while giving this Vigraha, he says that his Nakshatram will be Tiruvadirai, Arudra, and he also says that this person who comes in the future, he will be an expert in Vedanta. So Alavandar knew that Ilayalvar, who is Embemanar subsequently, Ilayalvar's Nakshatram is Arudra, and he also knows that Ilayalvar was very knowledgeable, very expert in Vedanta. He also wanted to see Embemanar, Ilayalvar, physically to confirm that the Vigraha matches the form there. And when he sees Ilayalvar, he observes that the Vigraha exactly matches with Ilayalvar's features, and he confirms that this is the future Acharya for us. So this Alvar Tirunagari, Nammalvar and Embemanar has a long relationship even before the appearance of Embemanar. And after Embemanar takes birth in this world, in Sri Perumbudur, he goes through, we have seen his history. After coming to Sri Rangam and after leading the Sampradayam from there, he desires to come and perform Mangalasasanam to Divideshams. So he comes on a yatra, and as part of his yatra he comes to Navatirupati. He goes to Tirupulingudi Dividesham first, Varagunamangai and Sri Vaikuntham. They are at the entrance to this Navatirupati area. When he goes to Tirupulingudi, he performs Mangalasasanam, and he comes out, he sees a small girl who is a daughter of the Archaka there. And at that time he asks people around, how far is Alvar Tirunagari from here? And that girl, little girl, being a very intelligent girl, she says, don't you know, Alvar says, Kuvudal Varudal Seyyaye. Kuvudal Varudal Seyyaye means it is in very nearby distance. I can just call out and he will hear. The other person will hear. So that's what Alvar says, why don't you call me to engage me in your service to the Embemanar in Tirupulingudi. So the girl is so intelligent in highlighting the Pasuram of Alvar, and Embemanar becomes very pleased with that girl. He asks the father of the girl to prepare Bhogam and offer that to Perumal, and he accepts Prasadam there. And then he goes to Alvar Tirunagari. When he goes to Alvar Tirunagari, he performs Mangalasasanam to Adinatha Perumal, and then he goes to Alvar Sannidhi, performs Mangalasasanam to Alvar. At that time, Nammalvar orders through the Archakas that his Paduka, his divine feet, should be called as Sri Ramanujam. Considering the great contribution of Embemanar, Nammalvar gives this great honor that his Paduka in Alvar Tirunagari is called as Sri Ramanujam. Usually it is called as Madhura Kavigal because the Paduka will be the closest disciple. But looking at Embemanar's greatness and Embemanar's contribution, Nammalvar wanted to recognize that, and he hence said the Paduka will be known as Sri Ramanujam going forward. In this manner, Alvar Tirunagari has a great connection with Embemanar, and from Alvar Tirunagari he goes on to Tirukkolur, where in Tirukkolur a lady comes out of the Sannidhi, and she is heading out of the town, and Embemanar asks, why are you heading out? Because Alvar says in this Padigams, Pasurams, that this is my destination. While this is the destination, why are you heading out of this town? And she goes on to explain many incidents where she claims that she is not qualified to be remaining in this town, and Embemanar becomes amazed at her knowledge. This conversation is known as Tirukkolur Penpillai Varthai. It's a very famous one. And he performs Mangalasasanam to Vaithamanidhi Perumal and Madhurakavi Alvar, and then he goes on to the other Divideshams in the Navatirupati area. In this manner, Navatirupati has a wonderful relationship, especially Alvar Tirunagari and Alvar has great relationship. Embemanar is glorified as Pumannumadu Porundiya Marban, Pugalmalinda Pamannumaran Adipanindu Indavan, one who is surrendered to Nammalvar. Emperumanar is identified as that particular entity who is surrendered to Nammalvar. In the same manner, Manavada Mamnigal also explains in Yathiraja Vimshati, Sri Madhavangri Jalajadvaya Nitya Seva Prema Vilasaya Parangusha Pada Bhaktam. One who is really attached to the divine feet of Parangusha, Nammalvar. So this wonderful relationship between Alvar Tirunari, Nammalvar and Emperumanar, we have seen that now. Next we will see the relationship between Srivillibuthur, Tirumaliranjolai and the Emperumans and Andal in that Divyadesham with Emperumanar. We see that Emperumanar is known as Tirupavai Jiyar. He has great attachment towards Tirupavai. We also know the incident of Undumadagalittan Pasuram recital where he goes for Bhiksha and the girl comes and opens the door with her bangles clinging in her hands, and Emperumanar becomes unconscious seeing that, as he thought that it was Nappinai Pirati who comes and opens the door, and that was his emotion while reciting that Pasuram. While one day he was explaining the Nachiyar Tirumozhi Pasurams with its meanings, to his disciples, he starts explaining Naranarumbolil Padigam, Naranarumbolil Pasuram. In that Pasuram, Andal Nachiyar feels that she should offer 100 pots of butter and 100 pots of sweet pongal, Akkara Adisil. She greatly desires for that, and Emperumanar thinks for a moment while explaining this particular Pasurams, and he says, let us go to Srivillibuthur, let us go to Tirumaliranjolai and offer these bogams which Andal Nachiyar desired. And he goes to Tirumaliranjolai, he offers 100 pots of butter and 100 pots of Akkara Adisil, and Emperuman greatly enjoys that. And after completing that task, he comes to Srivillibuthur and he submits to Andal Nachiyar. And Andal Nachiyar becomes very pleased with Emperumanar's acts, and she comes out of her Sannidhi and calls Emperumanar as Koil Annar. Koil means Srirangam in our Sampradayam, and Anna means brother, elder brother. It is like an elder brother who would fulfill the desire of a sister, younger sister. Emperumanar fulfilled the desire of Andal Nachiyar towards Tirumaliranjolai Alagar Emperuman. So Andal recognizes that and she calls Emperumanar as Koil Annar. It is something very significant. We can see in Sriperumbudur specifically, during Pagalpattu Utsavam, Emperumanar will be seated first in the Alvar Acharya's side in the row. After Emperumanar, immediately there will be Andal Nachiyar. So this is only in Pagalpattu Utsavam, where Andal Nachiyar will remain in the Alvar Goshti as the sister, younger sister of Emperumanar. Perumbudur Mamanikku Pinnanal Valiye, we see in the Vali Tirunamam also. So signifying that principle, we see even today in Sri Perumbudur during the Utsavam, Pagalpattu Utsavam, Andal Nachiyar remains with Emperumanar. So in this manner, Srivillibuthur, Andal Nachiyar and Emperumanar relationship, and it's also intertwined with Tirumaliranjolai Emperuman's Vaibhavam. Tirumaliranjolai Emperuman Kallalagar also reveals the greatness of Emperumanar a couple of times. Once when Periyanambi descendants, Periyanambi is the Acharya of Emperumanar, when Periyanambi descendants are visiting Tirumaliranjolai, at that time Emperuman, Alagar Emperuman, orders all those who are related to Emperumanar, all those who are disciples, descendants of such disciples, all of them to come forward. At that time, Periyanambi's descendants the family members, they stay alone instead of coming forward. At that time, Emberman asks them, why are you not coming here? I called out for those who are all disciples, descendants of Embermanar, Ramanujar. And they thought that they were coming in the family of Periyanambi, who is the Acharya for Embermanar, and they thought they would stay away. But Emberman chastised them and said, everyone is related to Embermanar. Everyone has the connection of Embermanar, Ramanujar. So we should all feel proud about it and we should all accept that. So that was the greatness of Embermanar revealed by Azhagar, Kallazhagar. Even Periyanambi, Tirukkoshtir Nambi, all of those acharyas, instead of themselves initiating their children, they had all of them come to Embermanar to become his Sishyas. So that was the magnanimity of the acharyas. They were all giving great importance to Embermanar. Another time, Kidambi Achan goes to Tirumalirunjolai. He performs Mangalashasanam to Azhagar Emberman. At that time, Azhagar Emberman asks Kidambi Achan to recite a shlokam. Kidambi Achan recites a shlokam from Stotra Ratnam, Aparada Sahasra Bhajanam, Patitam Bhima Bhavarno Dhare, Agatim Sharanagatam Hare, Kripaya Kevalam Atmasat Kuru. When this shlokam was recited by Kidambi Achan, Azhagar Emberman chastises him because in that shlokam there is the word Agatim Sharanagatam Hare. So Kidambi Achan says that I have no other refuge. So here Emberman says, why are you saying this? You have Embermanar as your refuge. You should not ever say Agati. You should always consider yourself as surrendered to Embermanar. So from that, Emberman highlights the greatness of Embermanar. So that was Tirumalirunjolai, Srivilliputtooru and Embermanar connection. Next we will see the connection with Tirukkoshtiur, Tirukkurungudi and Tiruvananthapuram. Tirukkoshtiur is a wonderful Divyadesham. Embermanar performs Mangalashasanam to the Emberman there. But it is also the birthplace of Tirukkoshtiur Nambi. Tirukkoshtiur Nambi was a great Acharya. He would always be meditating upon Bhagavan's qualities, Acharya's qualities in seclusion. He would never mix with people. Once Embermanar was asked to learn Tirumantram and Charmashlokam from Tirukkoshtiur Nambi in detail. Even though Periyanambi has given the meanings, even though he has instructed them, he asks Embermanar, Periyanambi asks Embermanar to go to Tirukkoshtiur Nambi and learn the meanings of Tirumantram and Charmashlokam. So for learning the Tirumantram and Charmashlokam, especially the Charmashlokam, he walks to Tirukkoshtiur 18 times. Every time he goes, Tirukkoshtiur Nambi would say, oh, you come next time, I will teach you. So when the first time he goes there, at that time he inquires in the town, where is Nambi's madam, that is, where is Nambi's residence? And they all think that the local people, they don't know the full greatness of Tirukkoshtiur Nambi. They all just think that he is a Sri Vaishnava who is scholarly. But they don't know the greatness of Tirukkoshtiur Nambi. But when Embermanar asks, where is Tirukkoshtiur Nambi's residence? Actually at that time he is not known as Embermanar, because it was only after this incident he becomes known as Embermanar. So they show the direction towards Tirukkoshtiur Nambi's residence. Seeing that, he immediately Embermanar falls on the ground and offers worship, obeisances towards the direction. Then all the townspeople, they come to know about the greatness of Tirukkoshtiur Nambi. So in this manner he goes to Tirukkoshtiur Nambi, he goes there 18 times, 17 times he goes there. Tirukkoshtiur Nambi doesn't give out the essence of Charmashlokam, especially that Ekam word is very, very significant in Charmashlokam, where it says that even our Sharanagati is not the means, it is Bhagavan only the means. So it is eliminating any self effort in the pursuit of Bhagavan. So this is the crux, this is the essence to be learned from Tirukkoshtiur Nambi. And finally in the 18th time, Nambi accepts to give the meanings and all of that. And Embermanar Ramanujar goes to Nambi, he learns all the meanings in secret, and then he comes to the temple. He goes to a mandapam, and there he invites those who have been requesting him for this Charma Shlokam meaning. And Embermanar Ramanujar at that time explains the meanings of Charma Shlokam. Hearing this, Tirukoshtiyur Nambi becomes very upset, because after teaching he gets a vow, a promise that Ramanujar will not teach this to anyone who does not have enough qualification of serving the Acharya for a long time and so on. Ramanujar agrees at that time, but then he comes and gives it out to those who were desirous. It is not as if he climbed on the tower and he shouted the Tirumantram and so on. That is not correct, and Embermanar Ramanujar would never do that, because it is against Shastram to spell out the mantra in public. It is more the meaning of Charma Shlokam which is very important for the Sampradayam, that was learnt from Tirukoshtiyur Nambi, and Manavala Mamnigal clearly identifies that after the incident, now Tirukoshtiyur Nambi hears about Ramanuja teaching this to everyone in the town who were desirous of that, and he becomes very upset. He comes to Ramanujar and he says, you know, you will be condemned to hell for what you have done. You have misplaced your vow, and for that Ramanujar says, I may be going to hell, but all of these people will be liberated. They are very eager to know. They were very eager to know. That's why I gave out this secret knowledge. And seeing that, Tirukoshtiyur Nambi understands the greatness of Embermanar Ramanujar, and at that time he names him as Embermanar. Embermanar means one who is greater than Emberman. This Embermanar name is very, very special, because Manavala Mamnigal very often, while talking about Ramanujar, he uses this name Embermanar, which is a very dear name, which is a very wonderful name. So at that time he was given the honorable name of Embermanar, and from that time Namberumal also establishes that this Sampradayam will be known as Embermanar Darshanam, Sri Ramanuja Darshanam. So that was the incident which brought great change in the situation there. Now Embermanar, after coming to Srirangam, Kuratalvan and Mudaliyandan goes to Embermanar, and they both ask Embermanar to teach the meanings of Charma Shlokam. At that time he says, no, you have to serve the Acharya. So he asks Kuratalvan to serve for some time, for 1 year, or alternatively he says you can fast for 1 month and then you can get the meanings. And again he asks Mudaliyandan to go to Tirukoshtiyur Nambi and get permission from Tirukoshtiyur Nambi. So here Embermanar's mercifulness is very evident. When the people who are desiring for this meaning, this essence of Charma Shlokam, he would openly give it. He would give it to all of them without any discrimination, as long as they are desirous and they have the Acharya Sambandham. So he was very magnanimous there. But when it comes to the showing what is the proper process in knowing these things, he ensured that his own disciples, Kuratalvan and Mudaliyandan, they followed the proper sequence and proper steps. In this manner, there is hidden interesting principles in each of our Acharya's acts. So after Tirukoshtiyur, we will see his connection with Tirukkurungudi and Thiruvananthapuram. Embermanar goes to Tirukkurungudi for performing Mangalasasanam. At that time, Tirukkurungudi Nambi is wondering how Embermanar is able to change everyone, to give knowledge to everyone. And when he asks that, Embermanar says, you have to ask like a disciple, and then only I can answer to you. And when Tirukkurungudi Nambi Emberman accepts that proposal, he gives a seat to Embermanar, and he stands humbly in front of Embermanar. And Embermanar, thinking about his Acharya Periya Nambi, he instructs Dvaya Mahamantram to Tirukurungudi Nambi Emberuman, and he says that it is with this mantra, this Dvaya Mahamantra, I can explain to everyone that you are the great personality and you everyone go and surrender to Bhagavan, and everyone follows that. So by this act, Tirukurungudi Nambi has become the disciple of Emberumanar. There is also the other incident where Emberumanar goes in another time to Thiruvananthapuram and he tries to change the Agama rules in Thiruvananthapuram, but Emberuman did not like that. He brought Emberumanar and placed him in the other side of the mountain. In one side of the mountain there is Tirukurungudi, the other side there is Thiruvananthapuram in little bit of a distance. And Emberuman asks Garudalvar to take Emberumanar in the night and place him in Tirukurungudi. And when Emberumanar woke up in the morning in Tirukurungudi, he was on the river banks. He did not realize where exactly he was, and he started doing his morning routine, and while applying Thiruman Kapu, he calls for Vadiganambi, because it will be Vadiganambi who would do that Kankariam of making the Thiruman paste. And Vadiganambi is not with Emberumanar now, because they all stayed back in Thiruvananthapuram. Only Emberumanar came here. So Emberuman appears as Vadiganambi, as a young disciple, and he serves Emberumanar, but he disappears soon. Emberumanar goes to the Sannidhi and he sees that whatever remnants he had in his hand, the Thiruman, that was applied on the forehead of Vadiganambi, and he could see that same marks on Emberuman's divine form in the temple, and Emberumanar could relate and understand that it was Emberuman who had come as Vadiganambi. So from that time, Emberuman in this Divyadesam is also known as Sri Vaishnava Nambi, where he has got the connection of an Acharya in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam. So that was Tirukurungudi and Thiruvananthapuram, and on the way back he also performs Mangalasasanam to Vanamamalai and other Divyadeshams. After that we can see Emberumanar's Yatra to the northern regions. All over the Bharatadesham, Emberumanar goes on a wonderful Digvijaya Yatra. It appears that he has at least travelled on such Digvijaya Yatra a couple of times. The first time he starts along with the western coast. He goes to Malayala Divyadeshams, and then he goes to western coast, and then on the coastal line he travels. He reaches Dwaraka, and then he goes to Mathura, and he also visits Gokulam, and then he goes to Badrikashramam, he goes to Shalagramam, Muktinath, Naimisharanyam, Ayodhya, and so on. During this travel, he goes to Sharada Peetham in Kashmir, where he wants to get the Bodhayana Vritti Grantham. He talks to the king and he presents his situation, saying that he needs the Bodhayana Vritti Grantham so that he can write commentary for Brahma Sutram. The king also arranges for a debate there. Emberumanar debates with many scholars and he establishes our Sampradayam, and the king becomes pleased. But the scholars there, they don't still want to help Emberumanar, but king forcefully gives the Grantham from Sharada Peetham to Emberumanar. When Emberumanar goes to the Saraswati Sannidhi there, Saraswati Devi herself welcomes Emberumanar, and when Emberumanar's arguments were placed and when his Granthams were placed by the king on the hands of Saraswati Devi, she keeps all those Granthams on her head. So Saraswati Devi recognizes Emberumanar's greatness, and king also acknowledges that. After that they get the Bodhayana Vritti Grantham, but after travelling for a few days, the scholars from Kashmir, they come chasing and they grab the Bodhayana Vritti Grantham and they return. At that time, Emberumanar is shattered, and at that time Kuratalwan says, "Don't worry, I have memorized the whole Grantham. While you were resting, I was always taking notes." in my mind, and I have everything in my mind. So Emberumanar feels very happy. They return to Srirangam. On the way back, they also go to Puri Jagannatha Kshetram, Jagannatha Puri Kshetram. There also we see the Leela of Emberumanar wants to change the Agama principle followed there. But Emberumanar's desire was not the same as Emberuman's desire. Emberuman did not want to take away the rights, the Kainkaryam of those who were already serving. So he arranges Emberumanar to be transported from Jagannatha Puri to Sri Kurmam, where there is a lot of lingams available, and in front of that Emberumanar is placed, and Emberumanar wonders where he is, and he understands that Emberuman's desire is different from what Emberumanar wanted, and he looks at the Kurma Kshetram, Sri Kurmam, where there were lots of lingams, and in the middle there was a bigger lingam. And when Emberumanar was confused about this, Emberuman appears in Emberumanar's dream and says that only the center Vigraha is an authentic Kurma Vigraha, Kurma Avatara Vigraha. Everything else should be taken away, and Emberumanar convinces the local people to take away all the other lingams and establishes that the main Vigraha there is Kurma Avataram, and that temple is renovated and it is properly maintained under the guidance of Emberumanar. In the meantime, the disciples from Puri Jagannath, they all come and meet Emberumanar in Sri Kurmam. While Emberumanar was in Puri, Jagannath Puri, the king was greatly appreciative of Emberumanar's Jnanam and Bhakti and all of that, and he gave specific Kainkaryams to Emberumanar there in Puri, Jagannath Puri Kshetram. We can still see our Thiruman, our Urdu Pundram in Puri Jagannath in a few places, because it was placed as a honor for the Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam even in those days. And the king also allots some space for a mutt to be built. This mutt was known as Embarjiyar Mutt, and it was there even until recently when the government destroyed some of these properties. But until that time, the Embarjiyar Mutt was right outside the temple entrance in Jagannath Puri Kshetram. So he comes to Sri Kurmam, he establishes all the temple worship there, and then he comes to Simhachalam, and then he goes to Ahobilam, and then Tiruvengadamudayan was also performed Mangala and then he returns to Divideshams here, Kanchipuram and all of the other Divideshams, and then he goes to Tirukoshtiur again, Tirukannapuram, and finally he reaches Srirangam, and he has the Bodhayana Vritti Grantham. He writes the commentary for Brahma Sutram with the help of Kuratalvan. He says to Kuratalvan that whenever I dictate something, you have to make notes and you have to document it. If you don't agree with whatever I am saying, you can stop writing, he says. And Kuratalvan agrees, and when there is the topic about the nature of Jivatma, whether it is having Jnanam as the main identity or servitude, Seshatvam as the main identity, Emberumanar wanted to write it as Jnanam as the main identity, because Sri Bhashyam is a common Vedanta Grantham, and it should be talking about general principles in Vedantam, not the subtle Sampradayam principles and the subtle principles. That is why he wanted to write it as Jnatrutvam. Because some people misinterpret these incidents and they say that Emberumanar was very angry and he kicked Kuratalvan and so on. He would not do any such things. He was just upset that Kuratalvan would refuse to understand what his thought process was. But finally, Emberumanar, when Emberumanar asks Kuratalvan to get away from that place, and Kuratalvan goes and he just waits outside. He doesn't even go home. He just remains there for some time. And Emberumanar finally realizes his own mistake, and he agrees with Kuratalvan and magnanimously accepts to follow Kuratalvan's wish, which is also the proper thing to do, and Emperumanar had change of his mind at that time. Such was the magnanimity of our acharyas. They would, even though they have disagreements, they would overcome it, and they would be magnanimous to accept good suggestions and so on. So Emperumanar completes Sri Bhashyam in this manner, and then he takes Sri Bhashyam again to Kashmir, and he presents that to Saraswati Devi, and Saraswati Devi greatly celebrates it. She names Emperumanar as Sri Bhashyakara at that time, and that name was given by Saraswati Devi herself. And she also gives the Hayagriva Vigraha to Emperumanar. Hayagriva Vigraha was her worshipable deity, her personal Vigraha, and she gives that to Emperumanar. And this highlights Emperumanar's Digvijaya Yatra, his travels throughout the Bharatadesham. It shows his greatness, it shows his open-mindedness, magnanimity. If he had just stayed in Srirangam, not many people in the Bharatadesham would have known about our Sampradayam. If he was very attached to just Sanskritam and Tamil and not cared for people who are remaining in so many other regions, speaking so many different languages, having so many different cultures, had he not gone to various places, and everywhere he would go, he would not just go to the temple and perform Mangalashasanam and move on. He would debate with scholars, he would create new disciples, he would engage them, he would give them knowledge, and he would make them follow the Sampradayam. It is actually something for us to even think about. Ponadikal Jiyar. After Emperumanar, it was Ponadikal Jiyar, Vanamamalai Jiyar's first Jiyar, who took up extensive travels all over the Bharatadesham and performed the same Kaikariyam which was done by Emperumanar, in being very magnanimous, in reaching out to people of different lives, different kinds, different cultures, and explaining the greatness of Bhagavan and our Sampradayam, and giving them the opportunity. It is not just specific to an elite group of few members in a particular region or a language, or these barriers should not be there for Bhagavad Vishayam. It's not, Bhagavan should be glorified in all languages, in all regions, in all cultures, in all places. So that was shown by Emperumanar and followed by Ponadikal Jiyar, and many other acharyas in subsequent times took up these efforts in spreading the Sampradayam all over the world also. So with this we understand Emperumanar's greatness. Finally we come to the last part. We are going a little bit over time, but Adiyan feels that we can complete this session today. The final part where we can appreciate Emperumanar's greatness, his compassion. There are two pasrams in Ramanuja Nutrandadi which highlight that Emperumanar descended from Paramapadam. First pasram is Adayar Kamalathu Alarmagal Kelvan Kayali ennum Padayodu Padarthandum Unsarngavillum Pudayar Purisangamum Unsarngavillum. In this pasram, Emperumanar is glorified as the incarnation of the 5 ayudams, Panchayudams, which Emperuman has: the Shankha, the Chakra, the bow, Sharanga bow, this Nandaga sword, and the Gada. So Bhagavan has all of these 5 wonderful weapons, and these weapons collectively incarnated as Emperumanar, says this pasaram in Ramanuja Nutrandadi. And the purpose of this incarnation is to uplift the humankind, to give this knowledge to everyone, and that was highlighted in this pasaram. The other pasaram is Unnendru Uyirgatku Uttanave Seyyum Paranum Parivilanam Padi. In that pasaram, Emperumanar is explained as Vinnin Thalinindru Vidalipan Emmi Ramanujan Mannin Thalatudite. In that pasaram, Emperumanar is present in Paramapadam, and that Embemanar descends to this samsara and he delivers everyone. And looking at this wonderful compassion of Embemanar, in this pasuram it is said that we can understand that he is greater than Emberaman in his compassion. Emberaman has compassion, but even more than Emberaman's compassion, Emberamanar's compassion is much greater, and that point is highlighted. And the principle of Embemanar descending from Paramapadam and is an incarnation of one of the Nityasuris is highlighted in this pasuram also. So this relates to the first session where we started that Embemanar descended from Paramapadam, and we have this evidence in Ramanuja Nuthandadi, and Manavada Mamnigal has also explained in the commentary along the same lines that Embemanar has descended from Paramapadam for the upliftment of everyone. So Embemanar spends wonderful time in Srirangam after all of his yatras and all of this travel, and he finally at the age of 120 years, after living here for 120 years, he decides to ascend to Paramapadam. He feels that he cannot live in this samsara anymore, so he goes to Periya Perumal. He recites Sharanagati Gadyam and he recites Sriranga Gadyam and prays to Periya Perumal that he gets liberated from this material world. And Periya Perumal initially feels hesitant, but he agrees to Emberumanar's plea and he says that he can ascend in 7 days. In the meantime, Emberumanar's Vigraha was also made by Mudaliyandan's divine son, and that Vigraha was to be consecrated in Sri Perumbudur in his birthplace, and Emberumanar embraces that divine Vigraha with great joy, and this Vigraha is known as Tamuganda Tirumeni, one which was desired by Emberumanar himself, and this Vigraha was subsequently consecrated in Sri Perumbudur. And after some time, Emberumanar, after the 7 days, as Periya Perumal told, ascends to Paramapadam. Before ascending to Paramapadam, he says everyone should continue on, have this brotherly relationship between each one of you. Instead of infighting or having disagreements, you all work together for the benefit of the whole humanity and take forward this message. That was his final instructions. And then he ascends to Paramapadam. Periya Perumal becomes shattered and he does not consume any of the bhogam on that day. He also orders that Emberumanar's divine form, divine Charma Tirumeni, was placed inside the temple itself, where it used to be Vasanta Mandapam. In that place, Emberumanar's divine final form was buried into the ground, just as any other sannyasi's divine form would be buried. And on top of that place, a new deity is consecrated, Utsava deity and Moolavar deity. Some people say that that Moolavar deity is the exact body which is preserved, divine body of Emberumanar which is preserved, but there is no truth in it. Because as a sannyasi, one has to be buried into the ground instead of being cremated, and the sannyasi has to go through certain samskaras in the end. All of those were performed, as we see in this Guru Parampara Prabhavam Grantham also. So at that time, many, all the Bhagavatas, they all recite Divya Prabandhams, Upanishads, all of the stotrams and so on. And the final procession of Emberumanar was celebrated in a very grand manner. Everyone was upset. At the same time, they were all celebrating Emberumanar's ascending to Paramapadam. This is a very significant aspect in our Sampradayam, where there is that sorrow when someone dies, but also a Vaishnava always lives. He goes on, he moves on to Sri Vaikuntham and he lives on there. So it's also a joyful moment. There is a bit of a sorrow for the loss of the individual, for the family, for the society and so on, especially depending on the contribution of the individual, that sorrow will be felt greatly. But looking at the benefit that individual is getting, one should also feel happy about it. That's what we see in the Purvacharya's lives and how this is handled in our Purvacharya's lives. So in this manner we have seen the relationship between Embemanar and many Divyadeshams. We did not see in any particular chronological order except for a few incidents. It was more focused on the relationship between the Divyadeshams and Embemanar, especially when during this time when we are not able to celebrate Embemanar's Trinakshatra Mahotsavam in a very grand manner. This way we can relate to Divyadeshams and Embemanar and console ourselves a little bit. So that was the intention. We saw all of these incidents. They are all based on Arayarapadi Guru Parampara Prabhavam as well as Ramanujarya Divya Charitai by Pillai Jiyar. Guru Parampara Prabhavam is authored by Pinbadagaram Perumal Jiyar. So with the help of these two granthams we have seen this series of topics. With this we will stop. Alvar Embemanar Jiyar Tiruvadigalai Sharanam, Jiyar Tiruvadigalai Sharanam.
கோயில் KOYIL என்னும் ஆப்பை கூகுள் பிளே ஸ்டோரிலிருந்தோ ஆப்பிள் ஆப் ஸ்டோரிலிருந்தோ டவுன்லோட் செய்து இது போன்ற சம்பிரதாய விஷயங்களை கேட்டு மகிழலாம். எங்கள் வலைத்தளம் koil.org KOYIL.org